massive show, the most dramatic 48 hours in the history of AFL football. Of course, the charges made public by the AFL against Essendon yesterday, culminating in legal action brought by James Hird against Andrew Demetrio. The 18 clubs met with the Commission. All of those details and also some infighting, we believe, breaking out at Essendon. We'll give you those details tonight.
Yeah, not just about Essendon the news either. Dale Thomas we caught up with today. If you don't mind, he was in Sydney on his way to Fiji.
Ooh.
But he talks about his future and a little uncertain he is too, so we'll hear more about that.
Yeah, speaking about future, the Richmond Footy Club, everything going beautifully for them. They are awaiting the signature of one of their big young stars. Might have some good news for them tonight.
Oh, now last week you would have all seen Big Bill's house. It reinvented Australian television. Well, I tell you what we've done, Gary. It's taken us a whole week and we've looked through the whole 16 hours and we've dug up some real inappropriate stuff.
No.
Real black label, and so therefore we're going to have to go late in the night. And
Post
when
10
we do,
o'clock.
I tell you, Gary, it's disturbing.
Oh.
So that's coming up.
All right, we're going to have a lot of fun too. Got a superstar panel coming out. Damien Barrett with heaps of footy news. Let's get started.
Precinct, oh, it's cold and windy, no better place to be than right here on the Footy Show. Let's get the panel involved in this team on top of the ladder. And he is an absolute favourite of ours. Premiership superstar of the Hawks. Make him welcome, Jared Roughhead. Hey, speaking of Premiership superstars for the Hawks, now with the Gold Coast Suns, Campbell Brown. Bill's house, Big Bill himself, Bill Brownless. Rough.
Oh, we might need this panel tonight, Tim. They've got a bit of fun about them, these three boys. We might need them in a ladder because some heavy stuff to deal with, and a man that's immersed himself in this whole Essendon saga somehow. We don't know how, but he is the superstar of this program, the 300-game champion, John Sammy Newman. Yes, a regal look about him tonight. Welcome,
season's hotting up, guys.
Hotting up.
And we might actually get some football played before it gets much hotter. And congratulations to the AFL.
Yes.
They're been nominated for a Booker Prize, which is Best Fictional Novel.
Oh, no. He's going with his best stuff early.
Report, the best fictional stuff you'll ever read. I read a lot of it, mate. Fascinated by it. Yeah. Don't you worry, I'll have a little bit to say. A little bit to say. If you bring that bloody thing down over there,
Bill, you talk too much, it's going to come down and hit you fair on the old head.
Bill, take that helmet off. The war's over.
He's got some new material.
He is razor sharp.
He's got new riders. He's ready to go. Wow. Hey, Jared Roughhead's here. Welcome the big rough. 21 games into the season, the Hawks sitting pretty on top of the AFL ladder. You've got to be very, very happy with the way you're going.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you said we were going to be 17-3 at the start of the year, you'd take it every year. So it's very good work, but we've still got a couple of games to go before finals.
A lot of that's due to you, and there's no question about that. There's no more prestigious award, or there is, but this is right up there. The Coleman Medal.
Yep.
You're leading it right now with 2 rounds to go.
Equal.
60. Equal. Yeah, equal leader. Who are the other two?
Cameron.
Don't pretend you don't know.
Well, you guys are telling me in the back.
Yeah, well, come on, Josh Kennedy. Josh Kennedy.
Yes.
Yes.
And Jeremy Cameron.
That's right. Now, do you want to win this award or not? And don't pretend.
Oh, you probably do, but, I mean, it relies on the midfield to get it to me, I guess. But the other two are in pretty good form as well.
Yeah, well, we've delved back through the archives and we want to show you some of this because with 2 rounds to go, we want you to win it. And for you to win it, you need to stop this sort of stuff.
Look at this.
Who are you kidding, Ruff? Just dealing them off the spanger. He doesn't need to kick goals.
No.
This is another one that you should just go back and slot. This is all lay down as there, and you've pretended again to be unselfish.
Those both times I've hit the bloke, they've kicked goals.
Yes.
And this one?
And this one.
Not to Bud.
Well, within range. So what are you thinking when you're getting out there now?
Team play. 100%. I've spoken to you, and you said you've given one up back in your day, so just following in the footsteps.
There's the jump-in poll, by the way, if you want to have a vote as to who is going to win the Coleman medal. Our view on this show, Ruff, is you don't bring enough to the table elsewhere to give away Coleman medals. No. Right? This is going to be the thing that defines you forever when you bugger off back to Leongatha and, you know, Christ knows what you're doing. You're going to be able to say to people, I'm a Coleman medalist from 2013. That's not going to happen if you give them off to other blokes.
Yeah, but I could be a two-time premiership player in 6 weeks too.
Listen to this.
That's why we love him.
I like it. If you're going to go with the real predictable stuff, explain this then. This happened the other day. We noticed it. On the record, you posed for that photo on the front.
Which one?
The big head one.
Yeah.
And
How
then
did I pose for that?
About 4 of the ones inside the little boxes you also did.
What did you think when you walked into the ground and you grabbed your record and you saw...
I don't read it.
Yes, you do.
And all
Don't
the
you
kids-
start.
Hey?
Have a look at yours. Have a look at this. Look at this. What? Explain this. Explain that.
What is that?
Explain that, please,
What
Gary.
is that?
What is it?
It's you posing for something at the MCG with no one there.
That's a reasonable point he's making.
That's a good point, Ruff. You got me on that one, a technicality.
Now, Ruff, do you reckon you are punching above your weight
In what way, Bill?
with the dial?
I'm doing all right.
You're doing all right. Is that her?
No, that's
It's Megan Gale. Jeez, I was going to say. Bloody oath you are. Because what's Megan Gale doing
I
up?
think they're talking about the wags, the really nice-looking wags.
Yeah, but that was the survey.
Part of the survey,
And out of 800 players, that were interviewed, 40%, which is 320, said you are the one that's punching above your weight. And you know why? Let's have a look at the lovely Sarah here. Oh, look at that.
Well, the other 60% thinking, Bill.
He got it from Leongatha. I think she was 14 when you got her. And tied her up.
Come on, Bill.
No,
Hey, Sarah.
childhood sweetheart.
Oh, well, yeah, 4.5 years. It's been going all right, Bill.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, she's done pretty well too.
Exactly right, Ruff. And she might
No, it isn't.
be on the arm of a two-time premiership player in 6 weeks.
And could be a Coleman medalist.
Hey,
Next.
yeah,
You are kicking.
look,
He is kicking some goals.
he's young, beautiful. We'll give you a spell. Campbell Brown wanders in. Lovely to see you, Brown. Now, before we get into this, the Suns are going nicely as well. They've won 7 games for the season, but we believe that you've also got some very good news to share with us tonight.
Yeah, just agreed to terms with the Suns to play on again for next year, so pretty excited.
You have to play a minimum number of games, Cam.
I'm back on match payments now, so the club
No,
made
mate,
sure
they
that was
said, mate, you've got to actually appear every now and again. Have they said that?
They have, yeah. I'll try my best to do that.
Because you're having a little holiday.
Well, see if
Yeah,
we can
I
stop
thought I was
kicking
a bit
blokes in the
stiff.
head, Brownie might be having a thing. Here you go. Just what happens here? Bang!
Oh, Jackie Tan.
Jackie Chan couldn't have done
Jackie
what I
Chan.
just did then, so
What is this? Let's have a look.
very unlucky, and that's basic gymnastics and tumbling. I tried to explain that to the tribunal, and they deliberated for 3 minutes and threw it out. So
Did you defend yourself? Is that the defence you put forward?
Isaac Newton's third law of motion I used that for every action there's a reaction. So as my left leg came in, my right leg had to go out to counterbalance myself, and I don't think they believed me.
Isaac Smith, that's about who you would have got.
Are you of the opinion that between you and your old man, you've both been there that often, that you don't need any representation? You can just wander on your own?
Yeah, I've been found guilty every time I've gone, so I might as well not bother paying the QCs.
We might apply that same theory, that Isaac Newton theory. So the action is you get suspended, and the reaction is for us to look at the race card and see what races are on around the country. Now we went back over your record. So start down the bottom. 2009 you got suspended, just so happened your horse was in. 2010 your fast talker got into the Bletchley Stakes. Then you had a horse called Scoreboard Pressure in actual
with
fact.
Peter Moody.
This most recent one, you've been suspended on the weekend, and Sweet Idea just happens to be running on the weekend.
In the Coolmore.
Coincidence. Absolute coincidence.
But you're big on the Twitter or whatever it is. Twitter. Tweets. And you've sent out this inspiration one the other week, and which we love. Somebody may beat me, but they're going to have to bleed to do it. So that's what
Great
you
Steve
think of.
Prefontaine.
Yeah.
Oh, Prefontaine.
Not a bad quote.
Yeah, very good there. So we had some other tweets here. And James, of course, you're a very good runner. Old Jimmy boy, this is you here. Have a look at old Spindle Shanks himself. Somebody may beat me, but not in the who's the most pissy arms. Look at you there. And don't you worry, Foss. We got one for you, old Foss. Run like somebody's husband is chasing you. Old Fossils. Oh, now, speaking of reactions, how big was the reaction last week to Big Bill's house? Unbelievable. We had social media going berserk. It was trending nationwide, Gaz.
Was it?
You know what that means?
No. What does it mean?
No, I know. It was trending. It was very popular. And we had all sorts of feedback here. Beverly from Euroa said she loved it. Haven't laughed so much in yonks. Jeff from Hoppers Crossing, never laughed so much. Please release a DVD. But this one here got us. This was from Rosalie of Traralgon. Could you please tell me where you got the folding beds from in the big house last week? They look exactly like the ones I want at home. So these ones here that you demolished, Sam, she is looking for those folding beds. Can you believe that? That is a fair dinkum letter.
Can you help her out? Samuel,
Sam?
where did you find that folding bed?
I didn't realise it folded, Gary, until I tried to manipulate it in to keep Shane in the carsy. And how he got out of that, he looked like he was a moth turning into a caterpillar or vice versa when he got out the top of that.
I know. And we believe there's some more coming up.
Gary, don't believe there is more.
Coming up?
We might have to have a look at it in the ad break.
No, Force, there's more, and we've had a good look at it, and it's not good visually, and it's disturbing. So what we've had to do is get it legal.
This is not us painting the portrait of you, Raymond.
So I'd be keeping it down to a dull raw. So later on in the show, when we get real late enough to show it, it's coming up. So I'd suggest you don't go anywhere, Foss, because it's worth
You
watching.
suggest I don't go anywhere.
Well, I know you're not going
I'll be
anywhere.
here till the end of the show,
I'm
Jim.
talking all the beautiful people here, and also at home. Hey, let's get stuck into the footy. What about Friday night? Collingwood take on the West Coast Eagles at the MCG. Went down to the Hawks last week, did the Pies, but look at the ins here. Didac is in with Kennedy, so nice to see Didac back in the side for the Pies. West Coast, not sure what they're going to have their way. 15 players going out left, right and centre. And the ins you can see there are pretty good. Maston's a very good player, Rosa and Wilson. And just a quick congratulations to a couple of people before I get the thoughts of the boys. Matty Pritters plays game number 115, Gary, and Andrew Embley we don't think is going to play because he might play his celebration game next week, which will be 250.
All right, before we get the tips from the boys and their thoughts on this game, Dale Thomas's future's been a talking point throughout the course of this season, and he's out of contract with the Collingwood Footy Club at the end of the year. We know he has suffered from injury, and again, only on the weekend his season is over. What the future holds for Daisy Thomas is the question we want to know, and we caught up with him and asked him that exact question.
I think it's a good chance to contemplate a lot of things. My future's not really at the forefront of my mind really at the minute. It's more so weighing up the options with the ankle and doing everything I can to get that right sooner rather than later. The things that have been thrown up so far are from a couple of weeks off resting up to some more surgery. So seeking our specialist advice along with the club doctors, I'll make a decision on that in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully that'll give me the best chance to play some good footy in the future.
Do you want to be at the Collingwood Footy Club next year?
Yeah, certainly. Look, there's a lot of things to weigh up. The free agency is a different landscape, I suppose, in the way contracts are being dealt with, and it's still kind of new in the football world. So, I've spoken to the footy club, and they've been fantastic and supportive, and I've given all indications to Nathan, and we've talked about the process going forward. So hopefully that can all play out. But you never do know. Obviously, it changed a lot of things with this ankle, but we'll wait and see, and hopefully it's the right outcome for everyone.
If you were to reunite with Mick and Greg Swan, is that something that's been played over your mind?
Look at that. That's you guys hamming that up. I heard today on the radio that I'm going to Richmond as well, and before that I was going to Gold Coast. So you guys can do all the speculating. I'll make a decision, and as I said, I'll be more worried about getting this ankle right rather than where I'm playing football. As I'm pretty sure I know where that'll be.
Very interesting that, and Daisy wasn't sure who was interviewing there, did he, Gaz?
Just go whenever you want.
Well, he tweeted this. Have a look. Always good to have a chat with the work experience guys from the Footy Show. Damien Barrett at Windy Hill, and that was Mitch Cleary, a young fella.
Exactly, young Mitch Cleary, the young warrior, Maasai there, who did a wonderful job. There he is. You can see his back on the left. But
Is that him?
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, he rolled the dice, Daisy, at the start of the year, so I'm putting off the contract negotiation until the end of the year. I think at the time said he wanted to get a kick to give him some currency. Hasn't been able to play at all, so he leaves him a little bit vulnerable. Rough.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's. But as you said, he said at the start of the year he was going to put it off and try and play some good footy, and unfortunately for him, he's copped the ankle injury, and we'll wait and see what happens there.
Samuel, you're a
Rolled the dice, then rolled the ankle, Gary.
Exactly.
What did you say?
You're a great reader of situations. What do you think Daisy's
You're also a great friend of Mick's. Is he
on his
going
way to
Carlton?
Fiji, by the way, on holiday there he was.
Yeah, no, he is. Via Princess Park.
You
No,
think?
of course you go to Carlton.
Well, why do you say that? That's just you're just being speculative.
Well, did you ask me what I think he'll do?
Yeah.
We did actually ask.
In that case, what would you like me to say?
Now I'm asking you, on what basis do you make that statement?
On the basis that everyone else has made predictions about Essendon and James Hird and anything else that's going on in football, that is my prediction, that he'll go to Carlton.
Okay.
I have
Who's
no
winning?
reason to say it, I just think that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think you might be right too, Samuel. Collingwood will win this
don't care
one
if you think
against the
that
West Coast Eagles on Friday night there. They were very good. And the young boy Grundy's going well, isn't he?
He's going beautifully. West Coast have lost 7 of their last 8 games at the G, so don't bring great form over. I'm going for Collingwood.
Yeah, same on the flip side. Pies have won the last 5 out of 6 at the G, so I think they'll win also.
The beauty of Collingwood and, of course, Essendon and Richmond is that they got the points in the bank. They got the money in the bank at the start of the year and they can afford to falter. They won't falter, Collingwood, but Richmond and Essendon don't have to win any more games to get into the finals. And when we get to them, we might discuss that. But Collingwood easily, because the West Coast have lost their drive and soul.
Yeah, and their future is interesting with their coach. I also think the Magpies will win and win pretty comfortably on Friday night. So we'll take a break. It is a massive show. Damien Barrett along shortly to discuss the whole Essendon situation.
Tonight on the Footy Show, Big Damo continues to set the agenda on the Essendon scandal. He'll swing by with the latest soon, and the Foss might have a bit to say on it too.
Does this guy ever shut up?
Also, Aussie basketball star Paddy Mills wanders in, but last week it redefined Australian television.
Don't tell me there's people sitting out there manning the cameras.
It gave an insight into the human condition. And there was farting.
Did you hear that fart?
Well, tonight the lawyers have cleared the footage and we're able to bring you Big Bill uncut.
What happens when you get your prostate out?
I'm not sure, Sam. What happens?
We'll just keep watching.
Surely that'll keep you up. It's all coming your way tonight on The Footy Show.
Welcome back to the Footy Show. Next edition of our home gym and hardware. Sportsbet.com.au. Our wonderful, wonderful supporters. We're going to get stuck straight into the next game, and it's a big one. Jim's mob, North against Ruffy's mob, Hawthorn. Saturday, Etihad Stadium. Kangaroos 10th on the ladder. Rolled Essendon by 45 points last week. Jimmy Boy out goes Grimer with a foot and Sierakowski. Frito and Zeeble come back in the side. Big Drew Petrie. He was wonderful. Daniel Wells, 4 goals, best on ground. The Hawks. Ruff, your boys, going beautifully. Knocked over Collingwood by 35 last week. Buddy kicked 4. Ruff wasn't happy. Couldn't get a look in. Guerra and Anderson come into the side. The Poo is out. Puopolo and Jure have been omitted. This is a side, once you get in there, you want to stay there. Going very nicely at the moment. I'll leave you for the minute, Ruff. I'll go straight to you, Bill. Kangaroos fancy themselves at Etihad Stadium.
They do, no doubt about that, guys. They've got a pretty good record. And Wells, I'll tell you what, Ruff, just get someone's got to run with him. He's the best goal kicker on the run you'll ever see.
Write that down, Ruff.
Yeah, write that down, Ruff. But having said all that, I'm going to have to go with the Hawks. But did you see Boomer last week? Boomer Harvey, of course, and Nick Comer here. They had a slapping competition. Slap, 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 slap. That's unbelievable. That was the old karate chop, that one, which, of course, Jim...
Well, when we saw it, Bill,
Yes.
it did remind us of a day gone by when slapping was more commonplace.
What's that? Of course, when you actually delivered that, you backed off pretty quick. You took a couple of steps back.
Because I realised that A, I shouldn't have hit a man while he was kneeling, and B, I shouldn't have done it. It was a reflex action, and that's what the game's got to, just slapping each other now. We're not game to do anything else. We don't want people to be punching one another, but we're
Slapping him's all right. Slapping's all right?
Slapping is okay. As long as you've got a glove over your wrist.
Brownie?
It's a brutal right hand you throw there, mate. I'm going with the Hawks this week. Sorry, Jim. I think great to see Brad Saul back in really good form. I think Ruffy will kick 6 and have 0 goal assists.
Ruff, what happens when Bud comes back? Because you dominated while he was out. He come back in and kick 4, and you're not intimidated by him, are you?
Not at all.
No.
We're much better side with him in there.
Oh, well, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But we'd still like you to be jagging.
No, yeah, you would.
Oh, of course, because you're my favourite.
Yeah. Jim doesn't say that.
No.
Especially when we're playing his mob. But, no, mate, as I said, much happier when he's in the side. We've both kicked goals.
What's the best setup then? Tell the Hawthorn support, tell Clarko mainly, what is the best setup, the forward setup with you and
Tell
Ruff?
Geelong, because they're the people you're going to have to beat that you can't.
Where should you play and where should Bud play?
Forward 50.
No, come on, very specific.
Hawthorn and GWS. That's what he told me. So,
Are you better close to goal than he, or is it just whatever happens? to you?
Whatever happens, mate. We're just
Mismatch?
we work well. We've been playing together for 9 years, so we work well together. And yeah,
Roughage.
No, mate, stop that. I've tolerated it. Stop that stupidity. If you're leading the goal kicking, don't kick it to anyone else, mate.
No.
God almighty, it's hard enough for anyone to kick goals. We've got an academy going. Just
looked good
kick
for
them
the Fuck
yourself.
Academy,
Don't
wouldn't
worry about what.
it looked good for the Fuck Academy.
I thought you were actually swearing at me. Mate, don't start all that
Jeremy
nonsense.
Cameron
Just kick 'em
handballed one in the
yourself.
goal square last week, by the way. So it's
silly.
Jackie Revolt's our only great last white hope.
Who's going to win, Foss?
Well, Jim, unfortunately, your side is a top 5 side.
No, they're not. They're 10.
I know that, Gary. If they had won those, if they'd won those 5 games that they lost by a kick, they would be in the top 5.
Well done.
And they'll be They'll be a very, very good competition for the Hawthorn side, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat them, but they won't.
I need to quickly say all the best from the Footy Show to Scotty Thompson, the scooter, who has a spot on his lung, which is serious, and he's not going to play for the rest of the year. Certainly the home and away season, if that is the end of the year.
I haven't heard this.
He got upended in Adelaide and landed heavily and had some bleeding on the lung, which required him to miss last week, and he's had it rescanned, and it hasn't gone away. So we wish him well, because you're a very good man.
Yeah.
And I miss him. Because he would have taken either Ruff or Buddy. So on that basis, and maybe a couple of other things, I think the Hawks will win. But it'll be a wonderful game at Etihad Stadium, the North, boys and the Hawks. Time now. Most popular segment on the show. Is that a question? Sam's mailbag. Come on.
No, I don't want to be outdone. This is not a letter. I don't want to be outdone. This is this week's record. And I want to know if you think this is a coincidence or product placement. This is about Essendon, and here is an ad for me. That's me advertising Sligo golf gear. I'm not giving Sligo a plug, which I am, but...
what is the point you're making?
Would that be because I'm a supporter of what's going on at Essendon?
I don't think there's any doubt that that's why they put that there.
You can buy...
Sligo?
You can buy bags and stuff in all your club colours.
Oh, no. Listen to this.
You can.
Foss,
and the man who runs it, Ivan, he's a Richmond supporter. And he said, no, we'll dress you in Geelong stuff because I'm a Geelong supporter.
All right, what do you got in your mail?
Contrary to what people think.
You look like a tennis pro from Florida.
You just look like an old pro.
Mammoth, shut up, you stupid fat man. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Right, this is from Adelaide of Melbourne. We had Adelaide of Perth last week, and we're just trying to see if there's anyone called Adelaide in all the states so that they can all write in and get their heads and names on. Dear Sam, says Adelaide of Melbourne, not all people named Adelaide are imbeciles. Now, I say the word incorrectly because she sent in a letter. We have blown it up. Imbeciles. Do you see that? In case you hadn't noticed, that's not how you spell imbecile. You spelled it imbecile. So we rest our case about Adelaide being an imbecile. I think you should be more optimistic in life, so I have sent through some wish clouds for you guys to fill in. Do you know what a wish cloud is? Have I got wish clouds?
No.
Where are they?
Give us an example of a wish cloud.
Hey, like that.
There, that's it.
That's it.
I don't know what they are. I wish I could turn my sister into poop. Here, that's the pattern view. If you had a wish cloud, Ruffage, what would your wish cloud say, my friend?
Well, we gave you a wish cloud at the start of the night.
Oh, is that how
I
I
had a
should have
better
said?
complexion.
Yes.
What is it?
Wish I had a better complexion.
And so do we.
Not be a ranger.
Thank you.
So it's all right. Oh, and Cam?
I wish Sam's face aged more naturally.
Mammoth?
Yes. I wish I could spell. No, I wish I didn't enter politics. Fair dinkum.
Yeah, your credibility, if you had any, that dropped right back.
You didn't really enter politics, did you?
Well, I was going to.
And this is my wish cloud, Gaz. I wish I hadn't ordered that quadcopter camera for my son's wedding.
Oh, no. Oh!
Macca's got one of those quadcopters. Yeah. If you saw Shane running across the Nullarbor, riding across, Macca, who films Street Talk and is very good, he's got a quadcopter and it hovers and it shot Shane riding. Did it? Yeah.
You got vision of that, or?
No. Well, we had vision when we did Shane. Yeah.
Like Skycam.
What? Yeah, like that. This is from Lola of Morwell. Dear Sam, did I hear correctly last week that your co-host Gary Lyon is having trouble ironing? That's the most pathetic thing. You said your iron wasn't hot enough.
Well, that's exactly what I said.
Well, how hot do you want it to be?
Well, hot enough
as
to
hot
iron
as
it.
the sun? What?
Hot enough to get the wrinkles out. What?
This is Gary ironing at the minute. This is how hot this is. Ironing, says Lola of Morwell, can be boring. Maybe he needs to sexy it up a little with one of these. Now there's now they're ironing boards. They're ironing boards. That's Jordan, and who's that down the bottom?
Richard Kane, is it? Or?
Richard Nee, Dickie
Something
Nee.
Richard.
Is it Dickie Nee? Who was that?
Dick, yeah.
Richard,
Dick.
someone.
But Gary, these are in the stores. These are in all good stores, and these are available. There you are, and it's an ironing board. There you are. So well done, Gary. So you can get those at all good stores.
Selling well, of course.
They're walking out, Gary. So that's that. And now we've got one more to go, Gary. Lisbeth of Ivanhoe, dear John. The National Sound Archive this week added a number of recordings to their Sounds of Australia archive. Here's the article. This is of those included were Russell Morris, The Real Thing. I am the real thing. Oh, fantastic.
One of the great songs, that is.
Fantastic song, Russell Morris. Peter Allen.
I still call Australia home.
Is that going to appear on the new album for us?
And a lyrebird.
What?
Look at him, look at
That's it. Sound of an actual live.
that would be.
Has that been added into the sounds?
Yes, I think it's been added into the archive.
A lyrebird.
Yeah. That's an Australian sound.
Of course it is.
Did you say yes over there, Rob, did you? Yeah. Now, I would nominate, this is who I'd nominate if I was just putting entries into the archives of sound, Bruce.
Delicious.
Bruce. Delicious.
Delicious.
And Jimmy Brayshaw.
Jeepers!
That's when Jim's slaving over Mrs. B and ramming the point home. And this I'd put in, Gaz, on behalf of you. And here are some sounds, and I am deadly serious about this, here are some sounds I wouldn't nominate. Did you hear that fart?
if you want to be a part of this magnificent segment, here's how you do it. TPO Box 9, Melbourne, Victoria 3001, sam's.mailbag@9.com.au or footyshow.com.au. As Gary said off the top, the most explosive 48 hours in the history of our competition. Here to tell us all about it is Damien Barrett next, so stick around on the Footy Show.
As General Counsel, Andrew Dillon formed the view there was sufficient evidence to bring these charges against Essendon Football Club.
We believe a number of the allegations to be outrageous.
The AFL today continued its trial by media of me. The release by the AFL of a letter by Dr Bruce Reid to me is designed to damage my reputation.
The duty of care to players is a fundamental responsibility of the AFL Commission and all AFL clubs.
That the AFL has let questions hang over the heads of our players is reprehensible.
The announcement by Ambush confirms the AFL is running an agenda which continues to call into question its impartiality.
There has been no predetermination of this matter by the AFL Commission.
The original charges were designed to do little more than score media headlines and intimidate us.
The AFL Commission has an open mind as to whether Essendon has breached the AFL rules and regulations.
Mr Demetriou and the AFL should recuse themselves from any hearing of this case.
The AFL is determined to punish Essendon as though we were drug cheats.
The ASADA report is interim, and the AFL and ASADA may be in breach of the law.
I have lost total confidence in the AFL executive to handle this matter.
I have been denied natural justice, and today's ambush is just another example of that. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Footy Show. People have been around this game far longer than I've described the last 48 hours as the most dramatic in the history of this competition. Of course, the charges were made public yesterday. A combative and provocative response from Paul Little and James Hird yesterday culminated in a Supreme Court writ being brought against Andrew Demetriou this morning. The 18 clubs met with the Commission today. We'll give you details of that as well. The man that broke this story, Damien Barrett, joins us. Welcome, Damo.
Thank you, Jess.
It is the most extraordinary of circumstances. The game itself has almost become superfluous to what's been going on over the course of this season. Pressure everywhere, as you can imagine, on all parties, and it is starting to tell down at Essendon.
Yeah, it is. And we'll get to James Brayshaw's involvement in that meeting with the AFL today. But look, the fight up until yesterday had been between the Footy Club, Essendon, and the AFL. But as of yesterday, upon the release of that 35-page document, which had the charge sheet laid by the AFL against Essendon, the fighting now is within Essendon itself. We've got a situation where there is an element of every man for himself attitude pervading this particular Footy Club. On the back of the document, because the staff at the Footy Club and a lot of senior staff and people at the Footy Club weren't aware of any of its contents until it was released publicly by the AFL. And what that has done is caused some relationships to be seriously fractured as a result of it, as to why certain evidence was placed and given weight in the document. Dean Wallace is a person who has become implicated in it, and in his eyes he has done zero wrong, and none of us have heard anything at all with regards to him, yet he's now asking himself how has he got himself implicated in it, and it's in a very minor way, but his name is in that particular document. He's considering his future. We can tell you that tonight. He's not the only person at that Footy Club in a senior level of position that is considering their future at that Footy Club. I mean, he is getting his head around what he needs to do now to stay at that club. And a person who is having a lot of issues directed his way, and he's also directing a lot of issues away from himself, is Danny Corcoran. He's questioning people as to why certain bits of evidence were in this document. People are asking him questions why certain bits of evidence are in it. So he's become central to it. There's a lot of people really disenchanted with Danny Corcoran and what's happened and the information as a result in this. And also, too, what's happening is that the people who were so unwaveringly behind James Hird at that Footy Club are now questioning both him and their commitment to him.
What about the players then, for the players? I mean, they're going to play on Saturday night in a massive game against Carlton. They're going to play finals unless we hear otherwise in 2 weeks' time. They've lost the last 4 games by over 240 points. It must be telling on them, and I would imagine that those close to those players are asking questions on the back of this.
Again, this is a landscape that's changing basically by the hour. There were a couple of player managers that we referred to last night on the special Footy Classified program who had, for the first time, really made some of their own phone calls on this matter. Up until then, they basically felt that the best way to deal with it and their players getting off any danger in this was to let the AFL Players Association do it. And they, in their eyes, have done a really good job. But on the back of this and the particulars in this charge sheet, they are now making their own calls. There's even one tonight, Gaz, that's exploring legal options with regards to his, or at least one of his players on that club's list. If Essendon is found guilty of an AFL charge, he's exploring legal options, what that means for Essendon as an employer of his particular player, and he's going down that path just to have all the options at his disposal should it go down a certain path that he and his player is not happy with.
It was always going to happen too, I think. 18 clubs today met, including our man here, Jim, met with the AFL Commission.
Yeah, and the man central to it, Paul Little, had left a message with the AFL that he was running late, the Essendon president. In the end, he didn't turn up in person. He attended the meeting by way of a phone hookup. It was a surprise to the club presidents. There was a situation where he, at one stage, was out of the conversation, and from what I've been told tonight, there were some quite draconian suggestions made by the 17 people left in that particular room as to what should happen with Essendon. And what we do know is that the clubs gave unconditional support to the AFL over its own rules, over its own commission and its own executive. And we'll have a look at what Peter Gordon said to us exclusively today about this matter. Before we do, I mean, let's go to James Brayshaw, who was there as North President, JB, and it just seemed, and the feeling we've had since the meeting broke up after 2.5 hours this evening, that there was a real feeling of solidarity by the 17 clubs and the non-Essendon footy clubs against that club and as to what the AFL has done to this point with it.
No, I'm not sure against that club is quite right. What people need to understand, Damo, is that the AFL Commission is put in place by the 18 clubs and they are entrusted to run the competition on their behalf. That's how the structure of the AFL works. Prior to the independent commission being put in place, of course, it used to be, I think, 14 clubs or 13 clubs or 12 clubs or whatever it was back in the 80s, and they all punched on with self-interest and the game was in disarray and close to bankrupt. So an independent commission was brought in to run the competition on behalf of the clubs. They are also entrusted with upholding the integrity of the competition. We've seen that in recent times with the sanctions handed to Adelaide and the sanctions handed to Melbourne, and if you want to go back far enough, what happened with the Carlton Football Club. So all that the 17 clubs said at the end of today's meeting was the AFL have our full support, or AFL Commission have our full support to continue to run the competition on our behalf. They should be the body that handles the hearing and issues out any sanctions that are appropriate.
Were you surprised that Paul Little, the man at the centre of this, whose club is under enormous pressure and under siege, wasn't able to get himself to this meeting?
I don't know whether the surprise is right. I was told he was going to be there. I've never met Paul Little.
I was surprised when I heard it.
Well, he was there in the phone link, and quite a few of the people were. It was actually a really interesting meeting because people kept coming and going. You had Queen's Counsel on behalf of the Commission who were there for a while and then had to excuse themselves, and commissioners had to do the same.
But there was a period at the end of the meeting, JB, I believe, where there's no one left in the room or on the phones apart from the 17 clubs, non-Essendon. Yep. And again, my information tonight is that amongst that conversation, I don't expect you to delve into it because you're not meant to and you won't, but my information is that there were some, to use the word, draconian measures suggested and mooted by those clubs as to what the AFL should now do.
Well, I think that's a very strong word, and I don't think it's the appropriate word, to be honest. But as I say, what people need to understand is the structure of this competition, and that is that the Commission are put in place by the clubs, all 18 of them, to run this competition, and they are entrusted with upholding the integrity of the competition. We must remember that.
Did you think Paul Little, did you ever think Paul Little might have enough integrity to disassociate himself from a meeting like this? Did you think that?
If he did, why was he there?
You said he wasn't.
No, he was there on a phone link.
So
he didn't disassociate himself.
Well, that might be just making a point.
Well, Sam, his is one of the 18 clubs that entrust the Commission with this power. So what are you saying? They're going to take that away?
I don't know if you finished or not.
No, we've got to get a bit through. So let's just do that. Peter Gordon, the Bulldogs chairman, who spoke to us today about it, and just listen to the strength of his words in this particular interview. And just this is how he answered the first question as to what he would do as a very experienced negotiator through many years as his own profession, and what he makes of what the Essendon situation has now become.
Look, I think it's really disappointing, and I think it's important that we as clubs make it clear that we do find it troubling that the brand is being damaged and that we all need to be concerned about that. I think as clubs we've all been respectful of Essendon's right to defend itself, and issues like presumption of innocence and waiting for due process to take place. But I'm disappointed that it's reached this point, and I know that I'm not the only club president who feels that way. I think that on the facts which have so far been agreed or been agreed not to be in dispute, we have a situation that took place at Essendon that no one wants to be the norm for the future. We don't want to see young players who have no therapeutic need for injections, going off, for example, to chiropractors and having injections of substances that came from old Mexico or New Mexico that were meant for a muscular dystrophy patient. Now, as I understand it, that's the essence of that allegation is not in dispute. And I think that it's probably, if I can say so respectfully to all involved, time for the parties to sit back and look at that and say, well, is that the sort of industry we want to have? Clearly we don't. Clearly there's a need to address that and say to the young people in Australia and their parents and people who are looking at this industry as various stakeholders that that's not the sort of standards and that's not the sort of industry that we want to have. I'm not going to preempt outcomes in relation to that. I want to say that I support the AFL and I expect the AFL to act to protect the integrity of the game and the interests of the game. Yep. And as I see it, that's what they've been doing. And I think that these sort of allegations of ambush and stitching people up are they're pretty unfortunate.
Really strong stuff there from Peter Gordon. You get a feel there for where the clubs are at with regards to what Essendon's doing in the court action. And that court action, Gaz, which you mooted last night, had happened today when James Hird did take the AFL to the Supreme Court over a raft of differences of opinions. It's a legalities and processes argument that he's taking. There's also a reference to his belief that certain things alleged in the charge sheet are just not there, and that's now got a Supreme Court lodgement.
Bruce Reid, who's been at the Footy Club for so many years, and there was this mysterious letter that he was said to have written that no one could produce until this report. This was telling, I thought. This is a man who's revered and so well respected. A letter that was addressed to James Hird, whether it got to him is in some dispute, and Paul Hamilton. I have some fundamental problems being club doctor at present. This particularly applies to the administration of supplements. It's the ultimate red flag in my eyes. To have your club doctor, who you speak of so respectfully and highly, put that out there and not to have the whole program stop right there and have it reassessed, I find staggering.
Yeah, and James Hird wasn't happy with that letter being released. Triple M this morning, Gaz, took a call from a mother saying to be the mother of one of the Essendon players, and we're going to play it now, and it is difficult to listen to. It certainly humanises the situation. This is Triple M this morning, and a woman saying she's a mother of an Essendon player.
I'm a mother of one of the Essendon players, and this whole debacle has created an absolute... It's created an absolute debacle, and my worst nightmare as a parent, my son, who plays for Essendon and who I entrusted to be taken care of, has basically been used as a guinea pig. And I mean, James Hird is a man who I've always respected. But to watch his press conference yesterday, it was all about him. It was all about me. How to protect me. Well, who's going to protect my kids?
It was on the Hot Breakfast on Triple M this morning. It does humanise the story, no question about that. It must also be said, in fairness, Murray Brown, who is the father of Alex, who's also a player at Essendon, was on the Today Show this morning and said that he was content and satisfied with the way the club had been handling the situation. So there are varying reports, and I guess parents have got different ways of trying to deal with this and trying to digest so much information. Just before we go to Samuel, who I can see is there just biding his time, for the AFL released the charges yesterday, and what was the basis and what was the reason for them releasing them yesterday?
Look, the timing of it was, Gaz, just simply because they had tired of the, I suppose, the buying of the Essendon propaganda by a couple of media outlets. One being by Gerard Whateley, who had 2 cracks in the space of 5 weeks at trying to make this whole topic about the anti-obesity drug, AOD 9604. And it had got traction in the marketplace when he went with it again during the week. And it got traction on SEN when Tim Watson, who, if there's ever been a more conflicted person in football, I can't think of it. As we know, he's the father of the Brownlow medalist. He's very good friends with the 4 people individually charged by the AFL, and he's a club legend. They basically...
And also a man of great honour and integrity.
100%, and we all empathise with his situation because it's an extraordinarily difficult situation. But the reason the AFL went yesterday was because they'd had enough of that propaganda, as they put it. And Paul Little tried to make this whole story about AOD. We've been saying it's about AOD, but that is only a very small part of this particular story. And so they decided in their own time frame to smash those charge sheet onto the situation and make it public, waited 2 hours and then made the statement they made about AOD 9604, about there had always been confusion around its classification. So that's the reason and that's the timing around why they did that yesterday.
Led to the response from Paul Little and James Hurd a couple of hours later, of course, which was unbelievable. Sam, you sat back there, I can see it.
I'm very interested to hear.
What have you to say?
Now, I'm a simple man. You know that.
No, you're not. You're a complex man.
I'm a simple man, and I read that whole document. And these are the very simple, basic notes I took. And if I could shoot that many holes in that document, I would not imagine a person who was learned in that trade could absolutely discount that document for what it is, a coerced, concocted document designed to fit a paradigm framed by the AFL. And as for that woman on the radio, if anyone has made her emotional, it is the AFL by some ridiculous nonsense that's going on with them, and also the press.
Speak for the woman.
I didn't say she wasn't emotional. I said the people making her emotional are the AFL's handling it, because they're handling it this matter. This is
maybe it's the Essendon program.
This maybe I like the use of that word maybe. This is just at random that this document says. Now have a listen to how unspecific this is. Failure to identify substances, reasonably likely that they're injected, at least some of these things, flimsy evidence, don't know the origin of supplements. Peter Gordon says there's not in dispute where the things come from and what they're being used for. They're absolutely in dispute, don't worry about that. All those things will be answered. Lacked appropriate standards. They said Stephen Dank's, this is how low they got. They said Stephen Dank's office lacked standards of hygiene and cleanliness. What is nonsense is that? What does it have to have? Does it have to be bubble wrap? Does it?
You at some stage, Sam, going to actually get a semblance of awareness as to what actually went on in this situation at any stage of this year.
Because?
Are you going to get an awareness at any stage of this year as to what went on?
Mate, I'm reading a document that is put out, but it is so lacking in anything substantive, it's frightening that people like you would take it seriously.
There's 17 footy club presidents today who
17 footy club presidents,
you
just heard 17 footy club presidents, because they don't know. They have just got their head up their butts. They have no idea.
All of them.
All of them.
Sam, you need to get your head around how this is going to work, or how it should work.
I'll tell you how it's going to work. I would say all the predictions about James Hurd and Essendon, which have not come true in all the media arms and all the media tentacles, I'll tell you what, I reckon the AFL hierarchy will stand down or resign before James Hurd does. And I'll tell you another thing. They placed a lot of credence on Bruce Reid's letter. Bruce Reid said he was just not comfortable with this game being taken to another level where sports medicine and supplements was used to improve the quality or the performance of foot. That's his opinion. That doesn't mean to say...
the process.
That doesn't mean to say things have moved on since Dr. Bruce Reid started in this industry, and sport all over the world is looking for the edge. They said they're looking for scientific pioneering. They're looking for to turn the club around by going to another level. That does not necessarily mean that they've done anything illegal. And I'll tell you what...
Quickly now, because we've got to go.
Well, all right. I mean, I take exception to you saying, am I going to get my head around this? I tell you what, I've spoken to more people than probably you have from both sides of it.
I doubt that.
From both sides of it. From both sides of it.
I doubt that very much.
I've spoken to as many people from you, both sides, to try and understand what's going on. And I'll tell you, I'll back my judgment on this. This is a concocted report that's seen the light of day and has been fabricated to fit a set of rules that they are travelling by.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you to Damien Barrett as well for coming in. The story continues with no end in sight. Bill.
Well, let's hope there's an end game.
That's
the key.
well,
We just
of course
got
we
to
hope
get
that-
everyone
Cut a
together
deal.
and get this thing
Jim.
sorted out. It is doing untold damage to our
I
game,
hope
and we need to
That's
fix
what
it.
it's
I
doing.
hope it ends tomorrow, but there is no end in sight.
It'll
That
go
is
on
the
for
reality.
Yeah, well, you
long,
want it
long
to go
time.
on, but that's
No,
not,
I don't want it
that
to.
is not a good thing. We need to get it
Sam
done.
and Damo will go and sort this
Oh.
out. A good, strong, robust
Hey,
opinion
hey,
that we
hey.
don't have an issue with on this show.
I'm a great admirer and
I
supporter
just
of
said
this.
that.
I have a different.
I know
we
how often
speak
it's-
We
many
speak almost
times
daily
a
these
week.
days.
I have a different opinion.
We're
Shut
going
up.
to go into the Tonight
Let's
Show.
go.
if we
We'll
don't move
go.
on.
A lot of
Bill,
anger around Gaza.
what do you got?
Which brings us to Angry Al Awards for this week, of course. A lot of anger. Oh, come on. We need it. Love him. Look at the little fellas here. We do need to love him, let me tell you. The Angry Al, there it is there. There's Al, your coach Ruff, of course. Have a look at this. Even the cat's bloody angry. Have a look at him. He's a cranky cat. And Karl Stefanovic loves it. All he does is laugh. And the cat is really, really peeved. Let me tell you. Can I do it? Can I do it? I think I can. I think I
Unless
can't.
I'm blind, I can see the ball on the ground. So what was the decision? Can someone answer me that? Someone. But the ball's on the ground. Therefore, he's not held up. So what did they get wrong? So if it's held up, I can see the ball on the ground. The ball was on the ground or wasn't on the ground? You're saying the ball wasn't on the ground. Well, what do you think?
I think the ball was on the ground, but these aren't. Have a look at this here. On the way home, a naked circus performer. He's got all balls in the air there. Looks like Gaz going home one night. This is Jerkov Janicic, a tennis player. Have a look at him.
I'm just very happy.
He's very happy. Listen, we've all done this. Had a couple of frothies. We've jumped on a kid's ride on the way home, and bang! There's Jerkov again. Yep. But he's pretty happy winning his game, let me tell you. But the winner this week is Dennis Comedy, Harry Highpants. Have a look at old Harry Highpants. Centimetre perfect Dennis. Well done to Dennis. He is our winner of the Angry Al, and unfortunately works at Channel 7, so he can't be here tonight.
No, not at all, Bill. I've delivered in the past. Al Clarkson, not yet.
Oh, no.
All right. I was just going through my routine. Come on, here's Dennis. Dennis. Well done, Dennis. Now, what do you think? Now, wait for this. Wait, Dennis, wait. What do you think about the award?
I'm a millimetre perfect.
That's it. Beautifully done. Well done. That's Dennis.
Look out, look out.
I'll give me bloody phone.
Thanks to Lewis Martin.
That's it. Tommy was out here. He stole my phone. There we go. He's off.
Thanks to Lewis Martin for letting Dennis come on.
Yes, absolutely.
He came out too early. I was going to say I delivered Hayden Ballantyne and Al Clarkson, and I was
The diminutive of stature and probably appropriate, but Dennis is 6'6".
no, but there is strains of dwarfism in his family.
Oh, I know.
There is.
All right, while we're discussing that, we need to get on to the next game. This is a big game in Geelong. The Cats take on the Swans. Oh, how good were the Cats last week? 66 points over the Eagles in Perth. And you can see a couple of outs, but look at the ins here. In comes Chap. First time for a long time for Chap. And the Hawks back as well. They're starting to get a real good look about them, Bill. As we take a look at the Swannies. Big trip here for the Swans. Down they come, and they take on, of course, Mitchell comes in for them, and nice to see him back just as the finals arrive. Kennedy is a very, very good player. Willis, you saw him last week. They looked impressive, your boys. Now, before I get to that, let me just quickly tell you about this. Sportsbet, of course, great friends of ours. The August Money Back Special from sportsbet.com.au continues through round 22. If your first goal scorer selection doesn't kick a goal, Sportsbet will give you money back up to $100. So last week, for instance, people who backed Eagles star Josh Kennedy to kick the first major all got their money back up to $100 because, of course, he failed to score a goal. Sportsbet have already given back $85 grand So punters this month, conditions apply. Sportsbet.com.au for details, please.
Gamble
That's it.
responsibly, yeah.
Responsibly. All right, Bill.
Stephen Motlop back here. Well, he went off last week's sub, so that's good to see his name. Joel Selwood, outstanding form, kicking goals. Stevie J and Matty Stokes signed a 2-year deal today to stay at the Cats. So the Cats down there at home. Brown Dog?
Yeah, their record at home at Simmons Stadium, they've lost once in 42 matches, so that is a phenomenal record, and they did lose to Sydney. That's their one loss, but I think they'll win this weekend.
Rough. Their defence has been on fire. Holding West Coast to 41 points is pretty impressive, and they've got to be able to hold Tippett this weekend, who's in ripping form. So I think Geelong will win.
Daniel?
Did you understand what he said?
Yeah, I did. He said they've got to hold Tippett, who's in ripping form.
Enough. Stop picking on blokes tonight. Just get on with it.
Tippett.
Who have I picked on?
You keep picking on me. So
I don't pick on you.
Next.
Who do you think's going to win this game for us?
Who did you tip?
Geelong.
Well, I'm going with you because I agree with you.
I don't think Geelong lose too many down there. It's going to be a tough game. At twilight, the lights come straight on from the start, Bill?
Oh, they'll be on. They turn on about noon, and we all gather around with our picnic baskets and sit there. It is magnificent.
It's a big night. The Cats just, it ought to be a great game. I'm going to take a break. Some news for Richmond supporters next on the Footy Show.
To the Footy Show, thanks to Nissan Navara, of course, Home Timber and Hardware and sportsbet.com.au, our great friends. Now, there's plenty of great footy happening, don't worry about that. We've got 2 big rounds and then a massive final series. So, Willis, get us stuck into this next game, please.
Oh, the Mighty Saints hanging on the Gold Coast at Etihad Stadium. Saints were OK early last week. Cameron Shenton comes in, maybe for his first game. Tommy Ledger, Murdoch and Leonard Hayes come in. Out goes Robertson, he's having a rest there. And the Gold Coast Suns, Brownies Moore, Brennan, Fitzpatrick, Patrick Osborne, Gilby and Hunt all come in. Out goes Hudson Swallow, who's been OK, and Tate is out with concussion. Lee Osborne might play his first game there. But Suns have been pretty good. They've had a pretty good year. But what's going on with Gary Ablett Jr.? He's had a quiet spell, Brown Dog.
Yeah, he's probably been a little bit quieter than usual, but he's been carrying us for 21 weeks, so he's probably getting a little bit tired.
No doubt.
But yeah, really important for us to finish the year off strong. We've won 7 games.
This?
Absolutely, we can, and we need to start taking a little bit of that momentum if we can win the last couple of games into the pre-season and hopefully next year.
Brownie, the sign that you are getting much better is A, you're winning your games at home, which is a huge tick, but secondly, when you get on the road, the distance between you and your opponent isn't that great.
Yeah, we've been really competitive all year. I think our biggest losing margin was down at Geelong. That night we lost and we were equal at three-quarter time. So we're being far more competitive and just hanging in games longer.
Signs are good.
Signs are good.
Very
signs
good.
are good when you get your shirt off too. You love getting your shirt off. We've got some photos here. Run us through what's going on here, Campbell.
Look at
your
this.
hairy chest. Look
I'm in
at
the
this.
ice bath. Yeah.
What's that?
That was a young, impressionable 19-year-old.
Oh, look at the hairy chest. Oh.
Nah, look, you've got to have a little bit of fun every now and then, and people exploit me. They tell me to take my clothes off, and I just do it.
You post most of those.
Yeah, you
yourself.
post
I did not post those.
We know where it comes from. We know where it comes from, Brownie. It runs in the family.
Oh,
Here's
look
the
at
old
Big
man.
Mel.
Look at Big Mel. Luckily, it's not down near the guts there, but
He's got the big pacemaker there.
Yeah. Hey, Ruff, have you ever been a photo taken with your shirt off?
I wouldn't have thought, mate.
Do you reckon or
This
not?
isn't a great rig.
Let's have a look.
Oh,
Oh, you reckon I posed for that one too?
What is that?
Do you reckon I posed for that one?
What, someone just surprised you when you came out of the shower, did they?
Who took the photo?
Gold Coast will beat
Who
St
took the
Kilda
photo?
in at Etihad. They've won at Etihad before, but I think they'll get their first win on Sunday.
Yeah, no, the Suns have been winning a lot of games, Brownie. It's pity you weren't part of some of them. Well, I reckon the Suns might get up too. I St Kilda, they've lost their will at the minute because they've got nothing. The Suns are young and have something to fight for. The Saints are just
I'm with you, Foss.
reconsidering their options this year.
Yeah, I think the Gold Coast Suns might win as well, so that'll be exciting for them. Let's have a look at this next game. The GWS Giants take on the Richmond Footy Club Sunday. Golden Stadium. Darley Adams, Dom Tyson and Jack's come back in. Stephen Gillen goes out of the side. Went down by 60 points last week. Looked like it was going to be a lot worse, but they dug in the second half. Villiers a good play. Play the Tigers. The Tigers are 6th on the ladder, if you don't mind. Yes, Richmond, that is. 13 wins, 7 losses. And Edwards, White. 2 Edwards come in. Jake the push-up king.
There
Jim
he
is back, and Day. McGuan's out with a leg and Asprey. These are squads, of course. Very, very disappointing loss last week to Carlton by 10 points. They kicked 8 goals in the first quarter. Looked like it was going to be all over. Now, everything's gone beautifully for the Richmond Footy Club this year. They have been sweating on the signature of Dustin Martin. It appeared last week that they were a long, long way apart. Well, Damien Barrett tells us tonight there has been significant movement in that negotiation between Dustin Martin and the Richmond Footy Club. Every chance that that deal could be done before the finals, which would be a great result for both the Tigers and for Dustin Martin. They've both been good for each other, so let's hope that that can get done and they can go into September with a clear head. Who's winning this one, please? Ruff.
Richmond will, I think. But funny enough, Sheedy's last home game as a coach, so good luck to him.
Kevin Sheedy's last home game. That's exactly right. Well done. Mel.
Yeah, Richmond for me. And if Jeremy Cameron does go on to win the Coleman, will be one of the great performances in the history of the game, I think, for a side that's only won 1 game.
Yeah. Good to see Jack Revol playing, of course. Was under a cloud. He wants to win the Coleman, so look out for Jackie Boy. But did you see Dean Brogan last week?
No.
He got have a look at this. He gets a free kick, and look what he does, right? Ruck infringement. Gets a free kick here. This is why he's retired, by the way. And throws it.
Oh, what?
Have a look at this close up. This is unbelievable. And
oh,
no. Mate.
Come on.
What is going on there with Brogue?
That's not right. That isn't right. He needs to retire. He's a ruckman, though, Force. You have some brain fades at times.
I have.
Ruckman.
Yes, you have.
Oh, hello, Jimmy. You're just butting in, eh?
You definitely have.
No, that is extraordinary. He might have been on analgesics or something, or mightn't have been thinking clearly. I've never done that ever, Gary. I was smart.
Oh, you were. Who are you tipping with Kevin Sheedy's final home game as coach?
Well, who did you tip, Ruffage?
I went with Richmond, mate.
OK, I'm following the rough.
Yeah, I do too. The Tigers will bounce back and win very well. Take a break, plenty more still to come on the Footy Show.
Still to come tonight, Big Wilbur delivers a cracking footy legends. Plus, it's up late, it's uncut, and it's unsavoury.
Worry, Kappa, you beauty.
The boys in Big Bill as you've never seen them before. That's all on its way on the Footy Show.
We are here with the Nissan Navara Tough Love team to help out the girls from the Eastern Devils Football Club. We're going to do a bit of work, so let's get to it.
I'm Ian and I'm the site foreman. We're doing some electrical work in their bar area, putting a new light in, and we're extending a bench seat for the player meeting area and repainting the wall at the back of the seating area. We've had excellent support from Home Timber and Hardware for providing all our materials.
Now, Joe, it must be nice to have the Nissan Navara Tough Love team out here helping out.
It's been sensational. The club's only been here a year, so we appreciate all the help we can get.
Now, the girls go pretty well. Their kicking is great, their handballing, and they're rough.
They are a bit rough. Most people are pretty surprised when they see women's footy, how skilled the girls are and how hard at it they go.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to have people come and give you a hand to do things. We got flooded back in January 2011, so I jumped at the opportunity to come and help out. Hopefully the club can benefit from our work and enjoy the new rooms that we're putting together for them and have a successful year next year.
Girls, it's been great. Thank you so much for allowing me to be out here. I'm going to leave you with one very important tip. When you kick the goal, celebrate, OK? This is how it's done. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about!
Well done, Shane. There's the Nissan Navara Tough Love team. And if you want the... time now for Almost Footy Legend. First one up, have a look at this hanger here. East Point versus Melton. This bloke's kicked 12 and then takes a hang. Big Danny Jordan takes a hang.
Next one. Canterbury Cobras versus Richmond. Lockie McMillan from Canterbury going after the ball, the ranger, and he goes over the fence. Nice little dive there.
Yes, he did. Oh, look at this rivalry here. Wang Rovers versus the Wangaratta Magpies. A falcon! Have a look at it again in slow motion. He goes for a hanger and cops a falcon. Which one did you like, Brown Dog?
I like the middle one.
What did the crowd like? Like number 1, the big hanger? Number 2, the over the fence or the Brown Dog? What about the hanger and the falcon? No? All right. Well done to... the bloke from Box Hill South, you won this.
Thanks to James Bogue's draft, our weekly winner takes home $1,000 cash, while our runners-up receive $500 each. Sponsoring over 150 local clubs, James Bogue's draft is a proud supporter of grassroots footy. At the end of the year, our runner-up pockets $20,000 cash thanks to Deep Heat, providing fast, temporary relief from muscle aches and strains.
Deep Heat
is the stuff of legends. Thanks to our great friends at Home Timber and Hardware, our major prize winner takes home a mega toolbox full of $40,000 cash. That's going to come in handy for that renovation you always wanted. So if you want to do it right, go where the tradies go, Home Timber and Hardware.
The best prizes in the business, and well done to Emerson's tour from Box Hill South, that was. St Genders, the Almost Footy Legends, GPO Box 9, Melbourne 3001. Don't forget you can upload your legends directly to the website at thefootyshow.com.au, Jimmy boy.
Hey, never let it be said that superstars don't come into the audience here at the Footy Show. Before we get to this man from the NBA, and he's a superstar, we have superstar trainer of Black Caviar, Peter Moody. The great man's up the back there.
Moods, look at him.
Look at him. Magnificent.
Got him in the real good seats too, Jim.
Hey,
Couldn't got any further
we got a mic up there. Hey, Big Pete.
Bill's
looked after you with tickets. Could he got you a worse one? Or?
Getting a nosebleed up here.
Well, it's great to see you.
Hey,
You
Pete,
are a
we
star.
got one for us to follow in the spring, mate, please.
Puissance de Lune, unfortunately, it's not in my stable.
What about the scoreboard pressure?
Scoreboard pressure, great horse. Possible trip to Mildura next weekend, I hear.
Well, it's great to see Pete Moody, of course. It's also great to see Paddy Mills, NBA superstar, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the San Antonio Spurs, of course, just in the playoffs. That was unbelievable. Takes a Sharon around with him and his Adelaide Crows jumper. But I want to ask you this, Paddy. Where are you staying at the moment while you're in Melbourne?
Well, I wanted to stay on Ruffhead's bed, but he's got me on the couch.
You at Ruffy's joint?
At Ruffy's joint, yep.
What sort of a host is he?
Well, he left me hanging all last night as he had some Hawks function on, so...
Is it reciprocal, Paddy? So when he wanders over the States, he just lobs at your joint? Is that how it works?
Well, I'm the best host there in San Antonio, so he had fun last year. Can't repay me, though.
Hey, Paddy, he fancies himself as a basketballer, does Ruff. Have you been out in the court with him?
Yeah, not since we were under 14s, I think. I don't know what's he like now, but he can kick a footy, though.
Well, and so did you. Very much sought after by the Sydney Swans. Now, I want to ask you this. We saw the great vision of you belting hell out of the Chicago Bulls mascot. Let's take a look at that, which we loved. Just there he is, jumping up and down. And here comes Millsy and just gives him a little drawing up the back there.
Oh, Millsy.
Fuck us off with him. And then there, part of the broadcast, which we loved. And it reminded us of our man, of course, Gary, who a bit of hang time was being taken by Rodney. He just gave him a belting. Hey, we know you're a very passionate Adelaide fan. You're still staying tough there.
Yeah, mate. Ambassador as well. Very proud one.
What went wrong with him this year?
I'm an ambassador, mate, of the Adelaide Crows. Very proud one.
Well, fair enough.
Thank Paddy Mills, everyone. He's a star.
Oh, what about Adelaide? They take on Melbourne. They were very disappointing last week, and wasn't Brenton Sanderson fired up? He went Burko last week, old Sando. Hardigan and Grigg comes in. Yanch is omitted, and Shorey's got a hammy there. Take on the mighty Demons, who have had 2 wins for the year. Got belted by 95 points. Have a look at the outs. Burns, Strauss. Bleasy's out with an ankle. Fitzpatrick and Davis is omitted. In comes Roden for all he doors person. And Tump, the Tump is back. Good to see the Tomp back. Gee, they need to win this. They were really disappointing Adelaide last week, and you'd think they'd bounce back at their last ever game at Footy Park. So, Adelaide.
Yeah, congratulations to Colin Garland on 100 games. It's a great effort. I think Adelaide will win quite comfortably.
Backing both these boys, Adelaide will win pretty comfortably also.
Horse?
Yeah, yep.
Hey, speaking of the last game at Footy Park, after 23 years and 280 matches, this is going to be Footy Park's last game. Of course, both teams are going to the Adelaide Oval. To celebrate the occasion, there is some limited edition Farewell to Football Park merchandise available at afl.com.au or in-store at Crowmania at Westlake. So get stuck into that there.
And we have some. What? We have some commemorative memorabilia.
Oh, really? Footy Park?
Yes, this is a bumper sticker. It says, enter at your own peril, which is play on words to enter at your own peril, Gary, in case people hadn't quite got the hyperbole.
I like it.
Then there's this, then there's this commemorative coin set that you can get, but we've stolen the coin out of it just to save time. Just to save you the trouble of having to pinch it, we've pinched it. So there's nothing in it. So that's what it would have been if we'd given it. And hyperbole.
You're an idiot. You are an idiot.
Hyperbole. Yes. And this is mullet and mint chips. These have been fashioned and baked in the kitchens of Herbert. No, not Herbert Adams. The mullet and mint. Hey,
I like them. I like those chips.
And it'll be bad luck that the Footy Park's going, won't it? Because I had some great times there.
You did have some wonderful moments there. What was your favourite?
I remember we went over and...
What was your favourite?
I tell you, I went over and... I think I was on AW. I went over and called... I was doing special comments and we were seated behind a pillar. And I saw about a third of the ground for the whole game. Because that's where the microphone was in our seats, and there was a pillar there. Why do you think they'd put you behind a pillar if you're actually trying to commentate on the game? Not that I could give a stuff if I saw it or not. We used to make it up, Gary.
We can ask the people at the SCG the same question.
Yeah, we could indeed. Hey, what they are doing, I think, running some sort of competition over there, the favourite moments that have taken place at that particular ground, and this photo caught our eye for us. The first showdown was presented by none other than the young Jay Brayshaw. Have a look at Jim Bob behind, who is that?
Braden Lyle.
Braden Lyle. Jim, that's a ferocious sweep.
Before my time, Gary. Hey? Young men these days go with a real sharp sweep, and that was 20 years ago.
You look as though you got diphtheria. What in God's name were you looking like?
Well, that's 95 or something.
Hey?
Nice little sweep, Jimmy.
What are you trying to say? I wasn't an imposing figure at that stage?
You looked ridiculous. You looked like a chopstick.
Look at him. Shut up, Bill. I'll tell you what we need to do, and that's... Oh, you're saying something,
We're
Brownie?
laughing at you, Bill. We think it looks natural.
I like it.
Brownie thinks it's hilarious. We're going to get to a break because Big Bill up late is not far away. Black Label. It has to be seen to be believed. So stay with us on The Footy Show.
The footy action continues to dominate on the 9 network. The Sunday Footy Show, look at this, attracts the biggest names, the best analysis, and talks to footy's influential figures. Big Hutchie's doing an unbelievable job with his panel. The AFL's brightest young star, Stevie Motlop's going to be there this week.
And Channel 9, of course, the home of the AFL. And on Monday night from 9:30, Footy Classified, the show to watch if you want all of the big news to be broken by the big news breakers. Award-winning panel, of course. Nathan Buckley's going to join us Monday, the very latest on the Essendon saga, live 9:30 on Monday.
What time?
Gary,
what time?
Don't worry about the fact that there are other people trying to muscle in on Monday night. There's only one show Monday night. It's Footy Classified, 9:30. You'll get your fill of all the news.
Would you like me to come on and speak about Essendon?
On our show, and while we're talking about footy shows and, of course, 9 being the home of the AFL, on our show next week, Jack Revolt, John O'Brien and Dane Swan. All right, let's have a look at the Brisbane Lions. They take on the Western Bulldogs. I'm looking at some very strange people next to me on the panel. The Lions defeated GWS by 60 points last Saturday night. And you can see the great man Blackout suspended. Patfull's had a very good season, the ends. You can see there Chris Lyle, Paparone and O'Brien. They take on the Doggies. What about the Dogs, Bill? Unbelievable. Gray, Tutt and Jones come in. Dixon with 6 was sensational. They have just, Bill, got better and better.
They have indeed. Tory was unbelievable last week. And Big Campbell kicked 4. They're on fire. Mitch Wallace is nearly the best run-with player at the minute. He is on fire.
Better than Ryan Crowley.
Look at him.
Mitch Wallace is on fire. You don't see enough footy, Gary. I'm telling you.
No, I don't see enough.
But did you see this last week? The Brisbane Lions players, when they kicked a goal, and there's a background to this. Look at this, very formal handshake. Thank you very much, Ed. Thank you, yes. Good goal, well done. And they get very formal. And they do it again later on. Yes, thank you, well done, yes, yeah. Bit of history there. They were watching World Series of cricket during the week, and that's how they used to celebrate before the big high fives. They'd just come up and shake hands. So it would have been interesting if it wasn't Greater Western Sydney. If it was someone else, they mightn't have been doing that. Do you think?
What do you look like, Bill?
I look like Barney Rubble.
You look like Shemp out of the. You look like Shemp out of the Three Stooges. That's what you look like.
Campbell?
Shemp.
Shemp.
Doggies have been going very well, so I think they'll continue the good form.
Yeah, I'm going with the Doggies also. I think their last month's been very good, so they'll win.
And what else have you got for us?
Yeah, go on.
Oh.
Now go on, Ruff.
Yours is a lot shorter than ours, Gaz.
You are on fire tonight. That's
been good.
That's your best so far. In case you missed it, you want to do it again?
No, mate.
What he actually said in the ad break was, Gaz, don't put it on until we're on
That's
air,
exactly
which
right.
was actually funny.
Yeah, but now we're on air, he couldn't say that.
I couldn't say it.
No one heard it, Ruff.
Because you set me up to now look like an idiot.
I don't have to set you up for that, I'm telling you.
Oh, yes, Force.
Well, now, the Western Bull, you're very tempted to tip the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, well.
Only the fact it's up at the Gabby, you wouldn't think they could, but they're going great and well done to them because they've lifted after they had their butts kicked early.
Yep.
And why is the Brisbane Lions, why is that rumbling on? Michael Voss was spectacularly unsuccessful. Why is there any worry about him going?
He got sacked. I think they thought they might add one up their sleeve in Paul Roos. They haven't been able to produce him, so that's all blown up.
And so that's why you'd keep him?
What, keep who?
Voss.
No, he's gone.
No, but you're saying if they'd found out Roos wasn't available, they would have kept
I'm not sure whether
Mick.
that would have been the case or not.
So Lee Matthews
I don't think they like the way they handled it, so Lee's got on board and there's going to be a challenge.
How else do you handle it? You just sack
We
them?
maybe wait for the end of the season, perhaps, and do it.
Oh, so you just let it
Well,
down.
three games going to make a big difference.
Let them down
I think
gently.
they did it because they thought they were going to win last week and this week and maybe the week after, and then it would have been really hard to sack him, Force. I think that Brisbane might win, but well done to the Dogs. Fremantle take on Port Adelaide. This is a very big game as well. The Dockers, they are a chance to go into the top 2, and then it's going to be game on. They smashed Melbourne last week. Ballantyne kicked 4. Barlow's going well. Crowley, the second best tagger in the league now, apparently, if you watch enough footy. They take on Port Adelaide. 8th on the ladder, 12 wins and 8 losses. And this has been the success story of the season. Don't worry about that. Schultz, 3 goals last week. A couple of changes here too. Mitchell, Need and Colhoun come in. Hamish Hartlett out. That's going to be a big loss. Travis Spoke, one of the great skippers of the competition. Well done to Kenny Hinkley. No one predicted Port Adelaide to play finals this year. They will, and that, well, actually, it's not guaranteed. Depending on what
They need to
happens.
win one of the last two.
Indeed, they're probably going to play off for Carlton. But their form has been sensational. Bill?
Yeah, Fremantle here. Patterson Stadium should win this one, Brown Dog.
Yes, Freo just refused to let you score against them, so I think they'll win. I would have liked to have seen Hamish Hartlett contest that last week. I didn't think there was too much in it, and a couple of weeks was a little bit stiff.
Jared?
Fremantle win this one.
Jared.
Nothing makes you more happy when Gaz gets some wrong information and he turns off camera and reprimands the underlings down there because they said, Port Adelaide are going to play finals football, and of course they're not yet.
That was no one's
Gary,
fault. That
are
was
you
mine.
going to stop thinking of yourself? Are you going to put the wig on? Are you going to put the rug on?
No.
Well, why not? Everyone
Where's
else.
it come from? Oh, Jim has he?
Why are you taking it? Well, why aren't you? Why wouldn't you be part of the team?
Yes.
You think we like?
I have got a wig.
Yeah, here you are, and I've got it here for you.
I'll have a look at it
we
during
have to do
Jim
it.
hasn't done it yet.
Well, he's the real
the
deal.
original wigger.
Oh, I see.
Gary, was that milkshake that gave you the wrong info?
No, it
there?
wasn't the shake.
Put it on, Gary.
having a
Be
meeting.
part of the team.
Oh, there's Monty. What's Monty doing?
Oh, no.
Sam?
Hey, we'll think about that. We're going to take it. Is this?
Put it on.
We are taking a break.
Put it on.
Put it on in there. What is that? Get him down and put it on.
Dicky D. Now you just need a blue hat.
Very easily pleased audience in tonight.
Gary,
We'll take a break.
are they your publics that have just gone upstairs? Oh, no.
Put a baggy blue on inside Dicky D.
Throw to a break, yes.
I say a big bill up, ladies. Coming up next.
Welcome back to the Footy Show. Been a fun show, really good show. One
Yes.
game to go, and it is a massive game.
Got a bit serious.
Big pardon?
Got a bit
It had
serious.
some serious moments, but a lot of fun too.
I like it.
Carlton take on Essendon. Bill, don't tell me Belcho's out.
Saturday night at the MCG. Have a look at this one. Very good. Carlton defeated Richmond last week. Just one change there. Bootsma's been omitted, and Big Cruiser comes back into the ruck there and take on the mighty Bombers. Made some changes. Ryder, Myers, Hurley come in with Merritt. Out goes Jetta. Bell Chambers has been dropped. Big Belcho. Heppel, Ankle and O'Brien has been omitted. And very interesting game this. Of course, Carlton need to win this one and next week to stay in the finals. And Essendon have just struggled. They've won one quarter in their last 16.
Wow.
Yeah,
Carlton.
That's an amazing stat there, only having won one quarter out of the last 4 games. Can't see them winning too many quarters against the Blues. They're in good form.
I'm going with Carlton. I think it'll make next week's Carlton-Port Adelaide game over there very interesting for the 8th spot.
Assuming Port Adelaide lose to Fremantle.
Well, I tip Freo, so I think they will.
Just about had enough of roughing. Back for the rest of the year.
Force?
Well, as I said earlier, Essendon have done enough to get into the finals, but they're staggering. Would I need to tell you that? They've dropped away for whatever reason you like to nominate, and they probably won't beat Carlton, but they've done enough to get into the finals should they be able to stay there, Gary, unless someone decides that this would be sensible to take the points off them, and how stupid would that be? So I think, and of course, am I doing this now? We're bringing out T-shirts. These are available.
Oh, you're bringing them out.
No, I'm not bringing them out. I wouldn't mind bringing them out, but these are available from... Where are they available from, Rob?
All good.
On Facebook.
Oh, were you about to say all good T-shirts?
All good T-shirts.
Yeah, all good stores. In Herd we trust.
And we've got one for you, Sam.
Oh, there it is.
We've had enough of you.
So these aren't available. Is this real?
Online.
Well, where'd you get that from?
Online. We just made that one up because we thought it was funny.
Yeah, we like that one.
Yeah. Now,
Quite clever.
So you can't get that one, but you can get the other one.
That's
now,
right.
off the top, we said that we've had a good look at all of the 16 hours of the Big Bill House from last week.
I'm not watching
the,
this.
The response from last week was some of the most extraordinary we've ever had in the history of the Footy Show.
Trending?
So we did trend, Bill. We went back and had a look, and this particular part of the Big Bill House, 4 a.m, and Big Bill issued the 3 occupants with one final challenge. So check it out.
I'm not watching it.
This is Big Bill. Big Bill is sick of the artwork in the house. So Big Bill has another challenge for you boys. The French are known for their Renaissance and artistic flair.
Renaissance.
So in the diary room, you will find French outfits and cardboard and paint. And Big Bill would like you to paint your own version of Jim's famous portrait, ramming the point home.
No more after this, Bill. I'm telling you, mate, this is the last time.
Just do as you're told, Gary.
Thank you, Shane.
I jump up and down and get the change every 3 minutes. Up past 3 in the morning.
Gary's getting grumpy.
Big Shane.
Oh, this is when we're going to get great TV.
Bonjour.
Righto, Fat.
Big Bill.
Big Bill.
If we could have you individually, please explaining your artwork
Get us out
to
of there.
Big Bill.
You can see the pose there, the hunched over intensity of the man in the throes of passion. I think I've captured that pretty well. The symbol of love here is highlighted with a real rosy red.
Very creative. And it's a one-off item.
Certainly
Jeepers!
That is a...
Jeepers! Jeepers!
It's just rewiring the bread.
Brett Whiteley.
Don't bore the piss out of us. Just
Brett
tell us what
Whiteley,
you've
I'm
done.
telling you how I've come up with this. Brett Whiteley incorporated the watch actually into the painting, the physical watch. So I decided I would follow.
Loaf of bread on him.
That's not a loaf of bread. That's symbolism for his snag, Gary.
I think...
The focus for the viewer and the admirer of art is the actual population rod, or as we call it in the industry, and you can see why. I'll just give it a hue. A hue is the vermilion tip kidney prodder. That's it there. Jim finds it hard to carry it because he's not a large, robust man, and when he does get a head of steam up, he can overbalance. And this was to portray the fact that Mrs. B probably could be over here somewhere, and he was aiming at her, and the nearest correct entry would win.
Third in your competition tonight. Third is you, Sam. That was shit out. Second
That's harsh.
Mate.
is Shane.
Yeah.
And congratulations, Gary, on
Thank
winning
you.
our competition
Thank-
tonight. Well done, Gary.
You ever eaten snail?
What?
Have you ever eaten snail?
No, I've never eaten a snail, no, Shane.
Oh, we're in France. We're in
Yeah.
Paris. No? Ever?
Oh,
you ever
I've-
eaten snail?
Mm-hmm.
You have?
Well, that's the same saying of living in Werribee. Have you ever eaten a piece of shit? I mean, what's that
Gary.
Yeah.
I know you won the challenge,
Yes.
but I actually thought the old enforcer most encapsulated the physical
Now look,
stylings.
now look. I got that idea. I interviewed Brett Whiteley. I was the last person, I think, to interview the late Brett Whiteley, and he was commissioned by Rado, who make watches.
You told us this on the night.
Well, did that come across then?
Yes.
Yes.
I did it?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I wasn't watching because I was embarrassed about that. When you do that at 4 in the morning, you think, oh, this won't go to air. And, of course, it went to air.
Well, I'd say,
It was quite clever, though.
Sizable.
I manacled
Well out of
an image of his member to the board with a coat hanger, which I fashioned into
Bringing
a...
back memories of the night.
And if we ever asked to do it again, I'm telling you, never ever.
what did you,
Again.
vermilion tipped?
Kidney prodder.
Well, here we go. We're going to get to a break and back to wrap up after this. Welcome back to the Footy Show. Thanks to Home Timber and Hardware, edition of sportsbet.com.au. Nearly done tonight, but let me just straighten up here for a second. Mark Muddy Waters, very well known in footy circles. He was a trainer at Collingwood and Essendon. He was also Pat Rafter's trainer, and his wife Jenny passed away after a long battle with cancer. So to help Muddy and his sons overcome a mountain of medical costs, there is a Muddy Waters family fundraiser being held on Wednesday, August 28 at Parade College. The guest speakers will be the great Pat Rafter and also the equally great Tony Shaw, plus plenty of other entertainment. For tickets or email, phone Mark McKeon at 0418 542 848 or mark@mckeon.com.au. You can see that all there. Get stuck into this, especially people that knew Muddy or that know Muddy, of course, or were involved in any of those fantastic places.
Very good cause indeed, Jim. Well done. Just about done for the night, but we thought we'd better get some of our sporting royalty up here. Peter Moody, the Premier Trainer in this country. We always say that.
Do you ever administer any supplements to black caviar?
Not 1,680 times in a back room, supposedly.
Oh, allegedly.
Allegedly.
If you wouldn't mind, please.
Exactly. Pete, you love your footy too. You're involved locally.
South Belgrave, 16-0 this year, top of the tree, and
You're the major sponsor?
I'm a part sponsor, so a few of the boys here tonight, and the leading team doesn't play in the finals this week. We've got a week off, so good things for the flag in EFL.
Would you put the rug on, would you, or not? Could we tempt you? I'm not going to actually force it onto you like I did Gary, because you look a bit sharp for me. But
don't put his rug on his head.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to. I said, Woody, put it on.
Fester.
You think I need it?
Well, you do need it, but
yeah, we can get you on his balmy next time.
Neil Balm.
Fantastic. Hey, Pete, what time are you up in the morning?
3:05. So you're keeping me up tonight.
Might as well go all the way through. Great to have you, mate, and good luck with the spring coming up. We know you're going to be successful. Paddy Mills, Australia's greatest ever basketballer, is over here with Ruff, mate. You've enjoyed the show. Ruff's given plenty, a couple of real funny ones.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, you tell them to stitch me up.
Well, no, I did not.
I'm not coming back.
Paddy, Paddy, you got to start hanging around with some much cooler blokes.
Yeah, I know, this guy's too salty.
When are you going back? When do you head back for the
I
season?
head back here in a couple of weeks, get ready for training camp, and I'll be then and hopefully back to the playoffs.
San Antonio Spurs again?
That's the one, back with the Cowboy country.
That's it, mate. Well, we've adopted them as our team. Thanks for coming in. Ruff, good luck to you on the weekend. Right on to you, Brownie. Signing, and we'll see you in action again next year. Good on you, Bill. Sam and the Jim, been a big night. We'll see you next Thursday night, 8:30. Good night.